Welcome to the newest installment of the Untitled Film Nerd Project. My name is Philip, and joining me as always is Teacher.
Hello.
And we continue on with our 5th annual 31 Days of Horror, where we watch a different horror movie every single night in October. Today marks day 11, and our movie for tonight was The Nun. Before we get into it, spoiler warning now! If you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to the time code you see on the screen. So let's get into a little quick cast and crew rundown. This was directed by Corin Hardy, who we know from The Hollow. Remember that Irish movie, I think?
Yes, I like The Hollow.
This was written by Gary Dauberman, with James Wan credited as well. And I was reading that James Wan also helped do some of the reshoots. So he also did a little bit of directing. But Gary Dauberman has also written Annabelle 1 and 2, Wolves at the Door, and he is doing both parts 1 and 2 of the It remake. Father Burke was Damien Bashir. He is going to be in the Grudge remake. He was in Alien Covenant, The Hateful Eight, and has a recurring role in Weeds, among other things. Sister Irene was Thaisa Farmiga. We know her from American Horror Story and The Final Girls. And she's also been in Anna. And side note, I think it's interesting, her older sister, who's Vera Farmiga, plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring movies.
Mm-hmm.
And even though these characters aren't related in the universe, they're both Catholics with like supernatural powers. But they're sisters. I thought it was really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think it was my friend Matt. He didn't realize that... No, it was somebody at work. They didn't realize that they were sisters in real life.
Oh, really? Right on. Frenchie was Jonas Bluquet. And the only thing I recognized him in was Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. And the Nun was Bonnie Aarons. She's been the nun in all the previous movies, and she was also in a bit part, I think, in Drag Me to Hell, as well as in Mulholland Drive, among other things. And that's all for cast and crew on my end, unless you have something else.
No.
Okay. Well, let's get right into our initial thoughts. You've seen this before me. You saw us in the theaters a few weeks before I did. I went to one of those cheapo theaters where they still play movies for, like, ever. So I could see this for this episode. So I'm going to let you go first since you've had time to let it marinate.
So the memory's a little bit fuzzy, but I highly enjoyed this one. I think I enjoyed it more than I was expecting to. And this is one, in my opinion, that it was mostly the atmosphere that I enjoyed the most.
Okay.
Like, this just seemed like such a throwback and such a love letter to the old Hammer House films.
Okay.
What with the extremely gothic atmosphere, how much personality the scenes, the setting itself had.
Mm-hmm.
Back when we talked about Winchester, about how the house itself should have been a character and it wasn't. This was a perfect example of that monastery was just as much of a character as anybody else,
right?
Flesh and blood moving around.
Mm-hmm.
It was another one where I liked that something else that we had discussed previously as far as jump scares and jump scares not being earned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying every single one of them was this way in The Nun, but I think there was more jump scares earned than there were jump scares not earned.
Okay. Only one got me.
Mm-hmm.
I managed to plug my ears when I could feel them coming, but the nun bursting through the door and grabbing onto her, that got me. But luckily, it wasn't as bad as what we had watched previously with Winchester.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anything else?
No, I mean, I really enjoyed this one.
Okay. I have to disagree 100%.
Uh-huh.
I thought this was horrible. Now, since you said Hammer, the Hammer films, I see where you're coming from. I can see that now. But this was beyond hokey. The plot was ridiculous. I don't think the jump scares were earned at all. I actually wrote a quote. Let me find it. We'll jump to something I wrote in my notes. It did not earn its jump scares. It's like if you had to reel a film and jacked off over the top of it, and where it landed is where you put the jump scares. It was complete self-gratification. The acting was bad. The dialogue was bad. The atmosphere, I will give you, was good. But when you have a blue-gray palette and you're working... I mean, they actually filmed in Transylvania. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they had... although it's illegal to film in churches, so all the church stuff was filmed like elsewhere, or constructed elsewhere, or whatever. But this was boring.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go to another part of my notes. Hold on. It ended, and I'm talking out loud on my phone on the way home to get some of these notes out while I'm still thinking about them. And I took a friend of mine who went with me, and I was like, "So what did you think?" And his response was, I was like, "Yep." And then he said, and I quote, "It relied too much on jump scares and not enough on plot development when it could have been more original with it." And I completely agree. It was so unoriginal. Everything it tried to do, we've seen before. From, 5,000 upside down crosses. Can someone please tell movie makers and actual Christians who know this will agree, upside down cross is not the sign of the devil. It's the sign of St. Peter. There's nothing demonic about it. And you would think if somebody worked in the Vatican, they, of all people, would know that. That's annoying. I'm going to happen to tell you this story about this boy possession that happened, and he's going to haunt me now for the rest of the fucking movie for no fucking reason. That was unnecessary. The acting was, like the father dude was not very good. He wasn't bad, but his line delivery was so... He reminded me of an actor named Dan Hedaya, who always has this like, just everything's like, I'm gonna perpetually frown at everything, and just, and I don't see it. This movie was bad. Now, not the worst thing we've seen, but this was, okay, I'm gonna lay this down. This was barely better than Crucifixion. Mm-hmm. And I mean every word of that. This was as boring as Crucifixion. The only thing this had over Crucifixion was at the time, coming into it, badass villain. But even then, what the fuck was the... Okay, so it wants to possess a soul. Okay. They've been there for like 2 days. It could have possessed them anytime. It didn't. It's like, I'm just going to stalk the halls and take my time because reasons. And then they have Sister Irene, who, if you're going to take anybody's soul, take hers. A, she hasn't taken her vows yet. She's not a full-fledged nun. B, she's having visions, so she's distracted. Valak could have possessed her any fucking time, but chose to just... I'm going to wait in my room, even though I'm going to wander the halls, and I'm going to wait for you to get the blood of Christ, because we're going to steal something that was in fucking Demon Night. And the exact same way, too. Blood spit in the face of the demon was the exact same thing used in Demon Night. Nothing about this movie, other than the nun itself, was original.
I remember leaving the theater, and I will give you that after leaving the theater, I was like, Jada Pinkett Smith is gonna be pissed.
Right. I don't get the love, and I tell you, I can respect where you're coming from. So I'm not saying you're wrong. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I don't get it. This movie failed on every level, other than atmosphere. But even then, it just did the same thing over and over, and blah 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 blah. Let's get into our breakdowns. I'm gonna keep ranting about how much I did not like this.
I'm gonna reply with noted.
We could turn this into a template for one day when we do our opposing opinion series. Mm-hmm. This could be on there. All right, what was your favorite scene?
For me, it wasn't so much a scene. It was just a little something that I noticed every once in a while that I really appreciated that, and that was the almost impossible reds that would show up in the color palette.
Okay.
I just really liked that addition and how subtle it was. Runner up to favorite scene, I really appreciated the fact that the priest was being led out of the building by his visions and memories of the possessed boy. Blech. And he ended up in the graveyard, and he got shoved into the casket. I was totally expecting it to be a dream. He would wake up, and then it was like, oh shit, she really did bury his ass. And so I did appreciate that did not turn into, it just being a scary dream.
Yeah, we'll get to that part in a few. Ugh. My favorite scene was either the scene where we see the flashback showing Valak rising out of the ground. Because we actually got to see the demon. I thought that was cool. Or the scene with the Silent Hill nurse nuns. I thought that was also pretty cool. I was like, it's ripping off everything. Like Exorcist, Silent Hill, Demon Knight, Crucifixion, every stupid fucking possession movie ever. But it did the whole like Silent Hill nurse thing with the nuns. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, if any, holy shit moment.
Again, fuzzy on the memories, but that's what I probably should have picked as my holy shit moment was the it turning out not to be a dream. Him being inside the... Like, there might be something else, but I don't recall at the moment.
Right. You don't recall because there was nothing, because I don't have anything, because this movie was balls. Like, this movie was so bad, your holy shit moment is, it wasn't a dream. Like, I get it, and I'm being kind of a dick, but... Yeah, I don't have
I will reply with...
Noted.
Noted.
That's your terse one word. We're not going to press this issue any further. Response. All right, here comes my moment in the sun. Mediocre moment.
Why do I get the image of you like sitting in the back of a classroom trying to raise your hand as high as...
I'm more like tapping my leg on the ground over and over, like waiting for my turn. Like, no, you go first. No, please, by all means. I'll sit here and wait patiently.
For me, my mediocre note moment was the quote-unquote twist ending. With them just completely changing how the actor looked and everything.
Yeah, they pulled a Star Wars.
And it was like, here's the connection. It was Frenchie all along.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, mediocre moment for me. Take your fucking pick. Seriously. Everything I said in initial thoughts. On top of that, the difficulty understanding what the father and Frenchie were saying half the time. They were like, they're mumbling, muttering. I don't know how you usually are worse with understanding people like that than I am. And I couldn't understand half the shit they were saying. On top of all the tropes that I've already bitched about, this movie relied way too much on the something's there, then it's not. Or something's not there, then it is. For example, the father dude walks out to the graveyard, gets thrown into the grave. Next shot, the pans back, with the wide shot, the grave's covered over. It makes no fucking sense. And the dirt could have at least been fresh. That was lame. Another one, the father dude's been talking to that nun lady the whole time in that room. She's there. Whew, then she's gone. Did that shit all the fucking time. The stupid ghost shit with the kid, overdone. The use of the nun was completely bastardized. They took this awesome character, and props to the actress who plays her, because she looks the part perfectly. They did not do her character justice at all. This was the weakest origin story. It was so bad. Like, this should have been as strong as The Conjuring or Conjuring 2. And it ended up being not nearly as strong as the movies. It was prequeling. I could probably say what this movie did right more in a shorter amount of time than what for me. So, and the ending was horrible. The entire ending was horrible. The battle scene at the end was lame, and nothing was earned. Nothing was earned. Jump scares weren't earned. The plot devices weren't earned. The plot twist wasn't earned. Nothing was earned. This movie is awful. Moving on. If any, LOL moment.
This I don't remember.
Okay. I have two.
Like, I remember Frenchie being funny at times. Like, actually, one of the ones that comes to mind is after he gets freaked out, he rips one of the crosses off the grave and walks all the way back to town holding that. But I don't remember if that was the funniest thing or
not. Most of his comic relief stuff was forced and fell flat because he was supposed to be the comic relief when you can understand him. Ironically, both of my LOL moments involve him. So one was when we hadn't seen Frenchie in a while. We got back to Frenchie. He's in a bar still holding the giant cross. It's leaned against the bar. I laughed out loud. I was the only one in the theater laughed out loud. I was like, oh shit, no one else is laughing. and then I laughed out loud again when no one else laughed aloud. Was when the father dude was fighting the original nun who committed suicide and was put into the storage area. And when he shot her in the head, he got like this random victory music Like, dun, dun, dun. I busted out laughing.
I remember that. Yes.
And no one else. Some people in the audience were liking it because I was the only one laughing at shit. So I was that dude in the theater. All right, that is all for our breakdowns. Anything else you want to add? You want to go to my notes?
Just one of the other things that I think I kind of liked was, to me, I didn't see this so much as like Catholicism or good versus evil, like, good religion versus evil.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of saw a lot of both Valak's origins and how the nuns originally used to combat Valak, including the Templar Knights,
Mm-hmm.
as that just seemed more like magic to me, like good magic versus bad.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I just thought that was kind of cool.
Right on. Anything else?
Nope, that should do it.
Okay. Let's go to Philip's notes. All right. I said that Frenchie looked like the love child of Nicolas Cage and Tom Hardy, because he did.
Mm-hmm.
I said that Thaisa Farmiga looks perpetually terrified. I love her. I think she's awesome. But if I was into ladies, I'd probably have a crush on her because she's very pretty. But she just looks constantly terrified, which is perfect for that role, though.
Yeah, and I remember that's how she was in the first season of American Horror Story.
Yep. And then when me and my friend were talking on the way home, he asked, he's like, what were the demon's motivations? What did it want? I was like, a soul, I guess. And then that's when we got on the subject of why didn't it just do it sooner? And then I guess it just wanted to be lazy and wander around an empty castle for no fucking reason. I don't know. I said it was not worth seeing in the theater. It was corny, and half the time I was trying not to laugh at the bad dialogue, acting, or the hokey cinematography and editing. Like, the cross is in the shape of a fire. Much wow. The shot goes down a hallway and out of his eyeball, because why not? Just so much of that shit. And then it went about telling its story all wrong. My friend said, and this is perfect, he said if they had lifted the story of the nun from American Horror Story Season 2, Asylum, her plan was to infiltrate the Vatican. Like that the devil was possessing her to infiltrate the Vatican. Mm-hmm. And that would have made sense. If you're Valak, you want to infiltrate the highest part of religion, go there. And what better place to start your quest than a nunnery? So that would have been much better than the schlock that we got. I live in this castle and there are nuns here and I want to possess somebody, but I could have at any fucking time. I don't know. I said overall it was boring, lifeless, relied on the same tropes, and was barely better than Crucifixion, but not nearly as good as the movies it was prequeling. And yeah, I stand by it. And that is all for my notes. Anything else you would like to add, or you want to go to final thoughts?
Just noted.
I like that you liked it that much. That you're gonna give me noted. All right, okay. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts is I enjoyed this one, and I would recommend it.
You know, I need to get the Family Feud bonk that they have when people get the wrong answer. It's like, I enjoyed this bonk. People should see this bonk. So for your every noted, I'm gonna do a Family Feud bonk. I'm not gonna, but it'd be funny if I did. Go ahead, I'll stop being a dick.
Oh no, that was it.
Oh, okay, you're okay. I am on the opposite end of the spectrum. Do not waste your time with this. This is complete schlock. This is bad. I'm trying to think of what it did right. Well, it did something right. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Okay. So it's all about who people want to listen to, you or me. There's nothing else I can say about this movie. It was bad. It was not the worst thing we've seen this month, as said, but it's up there, definitely up there. Bleh. So that takes care of final thoughts. But before we go, as it pertains to the Nun, what did we learn?
You go first.
boy ghosts and upside down crosses and fire crosses and fucking possessed nuns, and maybe they're dead, maybe they're not, maybe they're stuck in a ghost, who knows, and people who can't act very well, and the lines are bad, and it's just, I learned that this movie was fucking bullshit. This is a bad movie. I'm so upset because I wanted this to be good. They had just, this was handed to them on a silver platter, like you like to say. This character was handed to them on a silver platter. And they were just like, let's do everything we can to make this as tropey and unoriginal and uninspired as possible. Bang, 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 bang. Like, I don't get the screenwriter. His good stuff is really fucking good. Like, Annabelle 2, he redeemed himself from Annabelle 1. I didn't love it as much as you did, and other people did, but it was strong. Then he makes Annabelle and the Nun. He's Captain Peaks and Valleys, because he needs to be consistent. And I don't know where the blame falls on this one, but for me overall, it's the story. It's just bad. I learned that not to get your hopes up, because they'll be dashed by the guy who wrote fucking Annabelle.
I learned the Nun isn't for everybody.
Noted. Well, that wraps up a polarizing day 11. Thank you for listening. Tell us what you thought of this shitty movie in the comments below. Do you think it's as shitty as I did? Or are you rose-colored glasses in it? Like TJ, Mr. Revenge. Noted. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share with your friends or cool people who might dig the Vizcast, and please subscribe to the channel, including hitting that notification bell to stay up to date on the newest content. Speaking of, for day 12, we'll be watching the movie Marrowbone. I've stricken this from my memory. I remember looking it up because you recommended it as a possible movie for this month. And all I remember is that it has eye candy. So I have that to look forward to, at least. So until tomorrow, once again, my name is Philip.
And I'm TJ.
And we'll return then to talk about Marrowbone. Goodbye.
Bye.